The Galactic Council chamber had never been quieter. Ambassador Zixthul of the crystalline hegemony stared at the holographic display with what could generously be called horror, though his species lacked the facial muscles for proper expression. Around the circular chamber, representatives from 47 different civilizations sat in stunned silence, their various appendages, tentacles, and sensory organs all focused on the innocuous human standing at the center podium. Ambassador Sarah Chen adjusted her tablet and smiled pleasantly. That concludes our historical overview of Earth's military conflicts. Are there any questions? The silence stretched on. Somewhere in the back rows, a methane breather's translation device made a small whimpering sound. It had started 3 weeks ago when the humans formally applied for membership in the Galactic Council. Standard procedure required a cultural exchange presentation, typically involving art, music, and historical achievements. Most species showcased their greatest architectural marvels, their most beautiful symphonies, or their philosophical breakthroughs. The humans had chosen to present their military history. Perhaps, Ambassador Chen continued cheerfully, I could elaborate on some specific examples. The siege of Leningrad lasted 872 days. The defenders resorted to eating leather, wallpaper paste, and eventually, "Stop!" The cry came from High Counselor Vetheran, whose purple carapace had turned an alarming shade of green. We need a recess, a long recess. Ambassador Chen nodded understandingly. Of course. These recordings can be quite intense. We haven't even gotten to the really creative parts yet. As the various delegates filed out in what could only be described as shell-shocked processions, emergency sessions began convening across the galaxy. The Zenthari collective, known for their perfect pacifism, immediately recalled their fleet from the Outer Rim. The warrior race of Korthak Prime, who had considered themselves the fiercest fighters in known space, quietly began converting their warships into agricultural vessels. In the Andromedan Senate, Chancellor Krillthox was addressing an emergency session. Fellow beings, we have encountered something unprecedented. The humans call it historical documentation. We call it nightmare fuel of the highest order. The recordings had been comprehensive. The humans, with their typical thoroughness, had provided a chronological overview spanning from the invention of the pointed stick to their most recent conflicts. They had included tactical analyses, casualty reports, and what they called morale-boosting battle songs. Nobody was prepared for the battle songs. They sing while fighting, whispered Admiral Zephi to his aide. They actually compose music about warfare. And not just any music, catchy music. I can't get the battle hymn of the Republic out of my head, translator. The cultural analysis teams were working around the clock. Dr. Yithnal, the galaxy's leading expert in xenopsychology, had submitted a preliminary report that simply read, "Request immediate transfer to botanical sciences. The plants don't have weapons." Back on Earth, the human delegation was reviewing their presentation materials for the follow-up session. Maybe we should have started with something lighter, suggested General Morrison, scrolling through the files. The 100 Years' War might have been too intense as an opener. Ambassador Chen shook her head. No, I think we made the right choice. Full transparency is important for diplomatic relations. Besides, we haven't even covered the interesting bits yet. Wait until they hear about our contingency planning. The contingency planning files were legendary among human military circles. Scenarios ranging from zombie apocalypse to alien invasion, complete with detailed strategic responses, logistics chains, and backup plans for the backup plans. The humans had actually wargamed fighting a war while simultaneously fighting themselves just in case. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the resignation letters were piling up. The Galactic Council's mail systems were overwhelmed with formal withdrawals from various military alliances, peace treaties being preemptively signed, and requests for protective neutral status. The hive mind of Sector 7, which had conquered 17 star systems through sheer numerical superiority, had sent a simple message. We would like to surrender now, before any misunderstandings occur. 3 days later, the Galactic Council reconvened, though several seats remained conspicuously empty. Those who attended did so via maximum security holographic projection from undisclosed locations. High Counselor Vetheran, now speaking from what appeared to be a heavily fortified bunker, called the session to order. Ambassador Chen, the Council has reviewed your presentation materials. We have some concerns. I hope I can address them, Chen replied warmly. We're really looking forward to joining the galactic community. We've prepared additional materials about our peacekeeping operations, our humanitarian efforts, and our disaster response capabilities. Peacekeeping? Chancellor Krillthox interrupted nervously. Oh yes, we're very good at peacekeeping. Sometimes we keep the peace so hard that we have to rebuild entire regions afterward. Very thorough process. The translation devices struggled with the collective whimpering from the gallery. Ambassador Chen, High Counselor Vetheron said carefully, the Council has reached a unanimous decision. We would like to offer humanity an honorary membership with full diplomatic privileges, territorial autonomy, and a perpetual peace treaty. No application process necessary. Also, please find attached detailed maps of all our military installations, just in case you were curious. Ambassador Chen smiled brightly. That's wonderful. We accept, of course. Oh, and don't worry about the military installations. We spotted those weeks ago. Your camouflage techniques are adorable. As the session ended and the holographic projections flickered out one by one, humanity officially became the first species in galactic history to join the Council, without a single vote being cast against them. Not because anyone liked them, but because everyone was too terrified to say no. The galaxy had learned an important lesson that day. Never ask to see a human's home videos. They might just show them to you,